Hello, everyone. I'm Linda Ashita, Interim Communications Supervisor in District 214, and I'm joined by Emma Wozniak, a senior at Rolling Meadows High School.
Hello.
And Emma and I are so happy to have this opportunity to give you a sneak peek at the newly revised District 214 Academic Programs and Pathways Guidebook. And we're specifically going to focus on the career pathways section of that guidebook to walk you through and demonstrate how you can use this resource as a great tool to explore the many career pathway opportunities that are currently offered in District 214. And Emma's personal experience in that career pathway exploration I'm sure will inspire you. And she'll actually demonstrate how she used the guidebook to make the most of all of those opportunities. So we'll dive into the guidebook in just a moment. But first, Emma, why don't you just take a couple of minutes and share what that experience has been like for you?
Of course. So I started the career pathways sort of realm when I entered my freshman year. And I was very excited because for the past few years, I thought I really wanted to be an elementary school teacher when I grew up. And so the early education pathway that our district offers, I had heard only great things about. So I was very excited to get involved in that. And sure enough, right when I started, I absolutely loved it. As I continued to work my way through all the different courses, I was able to have a lot of hands on experiences that I wasn't really expecting to have when I entered high school. So, at least for my school, we had a preschool built into our school, and I was able to teach preschool students, and that was a really amazing opportunity. I actually got to take part in the teacher internship program, which allowed me to go to a school just a few minutes away out of the district and essentially student teach there. And usually student teaching only happens in college, so the ability to have that experience as a high schooler, as a junior, was really amazing and something that I wouldn't have been able to do without the Career Pathways program. Um, and then about halfway through my junior year, I started to kind of realize that I wasn't really as excited about education as I was when I first started the pathway. And so I was able to actually switch pathways into where I am now, which is the arts and communications pathway, which has allowed me to really figure out how passionate I am about broadcast journalism and public speaking, and has really been what is allowing me to be here speaking to everybody today. So, overall, the Career Pathways program has provided me with these amazing opportunities that I wouldn't have been able to receive in high school had it not been for the program.
Yeah, you make a couple of really important points. Your personal experience is reflective of all of the career pathways in terms of two key things. You mentioned flexibility. You started in a pathway and you decided, oh, I don't know if this is really what I want to do for a career. And then you were able to make a change and explore another career pathway. So there is flexibility, and I think it's important for students and families to know that. And then you make the point about that authentic work-based learning experience that you get in all of the career pathway explorations, and the sequence of courses all include work-based learning opportunities, as well as early college credit opportunities that maybe, I don't know that you are receiving, Emma, but they are available in all of the pathways. So those are some things to get excited about no matter which pathway you choose. But let's give an example now. Let's move over to the guidebook and show how you used it as a tool to maximize all of those opportunities you just described. So I'm going to share my screen and take a look at the Pathways Guidebook. And this is the cover of the guidebook that you can see starts with the academic programs, which will be all of your course listings for your 4 years of courses. And then the second part, it's all integrated, all of the classes that you can take in your high school experience with the career pathways sequences of courses. And so what we're going to do is skip over to the Pathways Guidebook section, and we are going to jump to the education section. Before I do that, let me just back up and go back to the beginning. What I'd like to do is just to show how the book is organized before we go to the specific pathway. What you can see is District 214 offers 39 career pathway sequences of courses. And Emma described how she started in the early education pathway. And on the right side, you see all of those pathways listed in black. And they're organized, the career pathway experiences in District 214 are organized under the umbrella of the national career clusters. On the left side of the page, you see the 16 career clusters. And then in the state of Illinois, on the right side of the page, those are organized under pathway endorsements. But I think so that the guidebook is organized in this modular fashion that corresponds to these pathway endorsements. And in each endorsement section, you will see the specific career pathways courses of sequences that the sequence of courses that District 214 offers. So with that now, we'll skip over to the education and training section of the guidebook. Let's take a few pages to get to page 109. And so here we are in the education and training section of the guidebook. And as Emma mentioned, she did early childhood education. So we will move over to that section. But as we do, take note that each module of the Pathways guidebook, it includes not only the sequence of courses, but some personal experiences in student spotlight sections. So be sure to take note of those as you explore the guidebook. And then this is the useful section that helps you map out your pathway sequence of courses. So Emma, do you want to tell us how you use this guidebook?
Yes, of course. So I would say that my biggest resource in terms of the guidebook specifically was this red section that you can see towards the top left. And this is very, very useful because it basically outlines all of the courses that you would need to take for this pathway. And so when I entered high school, when I entered my freshman year, I was a little bit intimidated to take part in a career pathway program because I felt like I would be overwhelmed with, figuring out, oh, what classes do I need to take? In what order? Are there prerequisites? Like, I don't want to mess this up and take the wrong class. And so those were all of these thoughts and questions kind of running through my mind. But when I heard about the guidebook and I actually took a look at the early education section, I saw this, and it lays out all of the courses that you need to take and in what order. So for me, I started at the top where it says like 9, and I started with Foundations of Learning and Development. So that was during my freshman year. I took that course, and that was kind of like the prerequisite to the other ones because it provided more of a standard discussion based learning experience. And then as I started to take more and more of those classes, such as Intro to Teaching Methods, and then moving on to Practicum and Early Childhood Education 2, that's when I started to build on with some of those more interactive, work-based learning experiences. So if you are at all hesitant about figuring out, oh, I don't know which courses I'm supposed to sign up for in order to complete this pathway, don't have any of those fears, because all of those questions can be answered through this guidebook. And another thing that I want to touch on that I think is very important is, like Mrs. Sheeta mentioned, there's a lot of flexibility with these pathways. So, like I said, I started for the first 3.5 years of my high school experience in the early childhood education pathway. And as I started to come up towards the end of the first semester of my junior year, I started to realize that even though I do very much enjoy education and I loved every experience that I had in the early childhood education pathway, I started to think that maybe it was not the right career choice for me. And I was very hesitant to switch. I didn't even really know that that was a possibility, since I was so far invested in one pathway. But all I had to do was email my counselor and let her know that I was interested in pursuing another pathway. And she was like, "Oh, yeah, no problem. Just let me know what you're interested in, and I'll be able to get you in one of those courses." And it was just as easy as sending her a quick email. So I think it's really important to know that doing one pathway for one semester your freshman year does in no way bind you to that pathway for the rest of your high school career. If anything, these pathways are so great because they give you the opportunity to kind of experiment and figure out what you want to do, as much as figure out what you don't want to do. So if you start one semester doing, you know 3D art, and then you realize, no, maybe that's not for me, and then you want to try early childhood education, you can, with as simple as an email to your counselor. So it's definitely very important to remember that this is a super flexible program, and it's built so that you can figure out what you enjoy the most.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Emma. I think that's so important for students and families to know. And while you are having the flexibility and students are thinking, well, wait a minute, how do I fit in all of my requirements? I just want to take a moment and highlight how this red band that Emma just described um, uh, is followed by the overall sequence of graduation requirements. So just at a glance, you have everything you need to maximize the career pathway opportunities and make sure you're getting your graduation requirements in. And then on the right side, you can see the little description of the work-based learning experience that Emma described, and some of the career-related electives and opportunities for other opportunities in the pathway, along with what are colleges really looking for in terms of their admissions requirements. So really, in this page at a glance, you have some really key information. And I think, as Emma said, if you have any questions at all, just please make sure to see your counselor. And if you listen to the introduction video with Ms. Knight this evening, she reminded you that following College and Career Ready Night, students will have the opportunities to explore this guidebook, start thinking about courses you're interested in, and then really continue those conversations in the coming weeks and months with your counselor and your families as you kind of talk through the possibilities. And I think talking with Emma tonight reminds me how important it is for students. Remember to talk to other classmates, upperclassmen perhaps, that are ahead of you, and find out what their experiences have been. And I think you'll learn, like Emma, students have had some really amazing opportunities that many students, as Emma mentioned, don't get until they're in college, that you can actually get while you're still a student in high school. So be sure to have conversations with your classmates too. So with that, that gives you an idea of how the guidebook is organized. So please, students and families, Emma and I encourage you to enjoy exploring this newly revised guidebook, and just take in all of the opportunities that are afforded to you and make the most of them. And we wish you all the best in mapping out your next years in District 214. Thanks so much for joining me tonight, Emma. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.